right now, man. Okay, that goes to show you the elite banking families, all kind of wicked. Because here it is, they got rulership of the entirety of the earth, and they just want to have resources to them. Okay, so you got bum Edomites walking up and down with bugged out thoughts and that, because they ain't never seen the dime that the elite banking families have put in their own pocket, man. Because they're selfish. But see, when the Israelites are going to establish their own economy, oh, you're going to have rich and whatever, right? Different classes of richness and wealth and whatever. That's just how things go. We ain't going to have a poor Israelite. Like this. Okay. Anyways, back within the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, and the 3rd verse, it says, "For I could wish myself were accursed from Christ, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption." So, talking about the Israelites scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and the Most High was going to open up the floodgates to them. Matter of fact, when you go to the book of St. John, the 7th chapter on the 65th verse, it says that what? Whither will he go? Will he go on to the dispersed amidst the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? So the scriptures tells you that, look, he wasn't dealing with these heathens, man. Okay, you go to the book of Psalms, the 149th chapter on the 17th verse, it says, he hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, what's his judgment? That you was going to be grafted back in. You was going to be adopted back into the fold. Okay? Right? When you're talking about all of these different things, that was all only for the Israelites. Okay? Let's go on carry on with Romans 9th chapter, and I go back onto the point I was making prior to this minor segue. It says, "For I could wish myself were cursed from my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, and the covenants." Okay? A synonym to that covenants is the New Testament. Because the New Testament is all about what? A new covenant. Okay? But that new covenant, as we've seen within the book of Hebrews, the 8th chapter, as we've seen here within the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, it was only established for the Israelites. And why was it only established for the Israelites? Because when you read about the whole history, about how the Most High likened Israel unto his woman, and how this woman went out whoring with these different gods of these different nations, how the Most High was pissed off, he threw the woman out the house, all of this, and the third was in catching hell, and now he's seeing his woman, he says that this is my woman, he's bringing her back. Well, that's what's happening right here, man. He hasn't. Oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, he hasn't known these other different people, man. He hasn't known these other different nations. Okay, he hasn't known them. So guess what? They haven't known his judgments. How he was gonna bring them back. His judgment how he's gonna have mercy upon his beloved. Okay, the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law, and the service of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and the promises. So the promises, when we're talking about the kingdom of heaven being established upon the face of the earth, that's the promise. That's one of the promises the Most High made. But now guess what? You're going to have it to where you got some heathen out here, they're going to be talking about how they want to be a part of that. Well, look, the promises went from Abraham, Isaac, unto Jacob, which Jacob became Israel. There was a reason why the Most High gave him that name, okay? Right, because he was the prince with the power, okay? And that whole, the whole house of Israel came off of that one person, and that's where the thing of the promises was talking about. We read the history about Abraham, and the Most High made him a promise, and that promise went down to Isaac, and that promise went down to Jacob. That wasn't dealing with these other heathen nations. They had already got their allotment, man. Okay, they had already got their allotment. You ain't got it to where you got Israelites out here, Jakes, Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, amidst the Moabites claiming their own land. And when you're talking about the heritage of the scriptures and the promises, we're talking about the heritage, the land of the Israelites, man. Okay, because all of these nations have an allotment that the Most High has given them. The Moabites live out there in their Moabite land on their own. The Ammonites have their own land. Okay, Japheth has his own land. Okay, the Edomites have their own land out there. Southeast of Israel, if I remember it correctly. The Ammonites, the Ammonite and the Moabites were around about the same region. All of these nations have their own land, and so does the nation of Israel. Okay, the nation of Israel have their own land. Okay, they have their own land, and now you go to where everybody's trying to take a piece of that by way of this thing of saying, oh no, actually the promises is for everybody. That's not biblical. That's not scriptural. Okay, that's blasphemy. Okay, so let's go back onto the scriptures now. Go to the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, and this is this precept I was reading when I started off in about 10-20 minutes ago, before Elder Cruz came up. okay, part of the Christian church. You notice anything about these Christian church dudes, when you actually bring out the scriptures, they don't have a leg to stand on, okay? Because their thing is all about community. Now, when you go into that thing of community, now you really go into the worship of Baal, okay? The worship of idols, okay? But when you go into the scriptures, you really find out that the scriptures is about separatism. How Israel was going to be on their own over there, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, the Moabites over there doing their own thing. Because the Most High is about division. Now you might have some concubines transferred from the Ammonites, and Jacob was going to enjoy that for a period of time or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, all of these nations was going to do their own thing. They're going to fulfill their lot within the earth, okay? And for the most part, they was going to be separate, because that's how the Most High likes things, okay? He likes variety. When you have a cesspit of people intermingling all the damn time, it's like, man, you got a beautiful creation of daffodils. Now they misty, you know, you crossbreed them with this, that, and the third. Oh, the scripture talks about mixing seed. Now, again, you could do that, but for the most part, the Most High likes things separate, you know, very. So Isaiah the 14th chapter and the first verse, it says, "For the Lord will have mercy upon Jacob, and yet choose Israel and set them in their own land." So this was again prophecy, because the testimony of Yahushua is what? Is prophecy. Now, has this happened? Of course it hasn't happened. So we're living, because it hasn't happened, therefore it's a thing to look forward to. Okay? Now when you're talking about the so-called Jews out there by way of the Balfour Declaration going into the land of Israel, you find out pretty much that the Most High ain't never set that up. That wasn't a thing of the Lord. And we go further into the heritage of those Khazarian Jews, you find out that they're the Edomites that the Bible speaks about. They're the ones that are ruling the earth right now, and they're the ones that have destroyed completely the whole entirety of the face of the planet. Okay, you're talking about oil spills within the earth. You can look at the so-called Jews about that. You're talking about just ideas and philosophies dividing the minds of the people. The so-called Jews did all of that. Who controls the media? Okay, who controls the so-called newspapers that feed you nothing but garbage? Because you don't really get to find out what's happening out there on information like that. They control both sides, man. Okay, they control the Russian media, so you're reading the Russian propaganda thinking you're getting the so-called undiluted news. No, you're not. You ain't getting the so-called undiluted news. You're just getting the other perspective of what's known as the Hegelian dialectic, man. Okay, pressure from above, pressure from beneath. So you're thinking, oh, the Russians are being aggressive. Then you read some American-made newspaper. Then now you're thinking that the Americans are being aggressive. And you're just lost in assessment, because guess what? The so-called Jews are the ones that are running both sides. You transpire that into the situation that's happening out there within the Middle East right now between the Saudi Arabians and the Iranians, or you find out that they're controlling both sides of that too. So all of this war, and they say that what? All wars are bankers' wars. All of this war and turmoil that's happening within the earth right now can be attributed to these so-called Jews. But the scripture tells you that when the so-called Jews was going to be in the land of Israel, all peace was going to be upon the face of the earth. Okay? When you go into the Bible, you find out that when the Most High returns the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, if I could find it quickly, I'll read it. Okay? I think it might be within the book of Joel. When the Most High was going to have it to where they was going to be removed out the state of captivity that we are in right now, hardcore captivity. Okay, 6 o'clock wake up. Okay, all right. You pretty much find out that they was going to be there. Okay, it's not within the book of Isaiah, the 3rd chapter. That's the opposite. Okay, pretty much what you find out is we're living in the times of people not learning about cultivating and plowing anymore. We're in times of people learning about war, okay? But when you read about the salvation of the Israelites and the Israelites ruling, then you're learning that in that time, these nations were going to learn about cultivation, okay? What's the best way to grow grapes and to make them real big and juicy, man, so you can make the best wine. That's what they're going to be learning about, okay? But when we have it to where the Jews that are in the land of Israel right now, that was what's supposed to be happening when the real Jews, the real people of the Most High was going to go into the land. But you find out these guys are imposters, man. Okay? And that's why that's why this thing for me, that's a big thing for me right now. That statement of the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy, because through prophecy, man, you can see clearly. Okay? If something doesn't add up according to the prophecy, well, guess what? It ain't on point, man. Okay, it's not on point. When something doesn't add up according to the prophecies, namely the people of the Most High returning into their own land and peace being established upon the face of the earth, then those ain't the people of the Most High. Okay? When the scriptures talk about within the book of Amos, the 9th chapter, how the Most High was going to gather the remnant of Israel and set them in their own land, and you find out, okay, these are the Israelis. Well, the scripture says when he was going to gather that, he was going to establish the tabernacles of David. Well, where's the tabernacles of David? I would like to pay my homage. Okay? And you find out that that didn't happen. Well, guess what? That's not the fulfillment of that prophecy. Okay? And you find out these guys are the devils that rule the earth right now, and the Most High is going to destroy them. And within this book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, you're going to see how this man, Esau, the so-called Jews, okay, because they're the head house, so they're the ones that are calling shots upon the face of the earth right now. You're going to find out that whole thing of them thinking they're in control is going downhill, man. Okay? Their so-called manipulation of economy, okay, their so-called manipulation, because the scripture talks about how this man was going to be wiser than Daniel, okay? So they was going to study people's psychology, people's so-called spending habits, so they could bring about this gradual change into the RFID chip. That's why everybody's in debt. Everybody's in debt because that's necessary for the establishment of the RFID chip. For you to return into that state of comfortability, you're going to have to be offered a resolution for the chaos that you're going to be blamed for. Okay? You've taken out a mortgage, you can't pay it off, works out. Well, guess what? You crashed the economy. That's what the elite banking family is going to be saying to the people. And the same thing happened within 2008. When the hey, that's a so-called Jew right there. Okay? We're just talking about you. Okay? When the so-called 2008 crash happened, what did you have? You had the bankers blaming the people for taking out loans that they couldn't afford. But who issued out those loans? Who created a system for those things to take place? Okay? The elite banking families. Matter of fact, they got it down so much to a mathematical science that they pretty much know when they're going to have it to where this economy is going to crash. Like I said before, they're going to blame it on you. Okay, they're going to say you're the reason why you got chaos all over the place out here because there's no food, because there's no money. Okay, here's the solution, the RFID chip, which is going to be the solution to all things. Okay, so Isaiah the 14th chapter, 14 and 1, it says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, right, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, right, and the strangers shall be joined unto them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Israel." Okay, and again, you know, you get a simple-minded Christian, and he's gonna be thinking, "Oh, that's stranger, that's me." No, it's not you. As we read within the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, what did it say? It says, "My kinsmen, according to the flesh, okay, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption." Okay, so the scattered Israelites, of course, throughout the four corners of the earth, the ones that was gonna be, you know, into all different kind of things, man. They just thought that they was just straight up heathens. They was going to be grafted in, and those was going to be the strangers, okay, that became strangers, that became a degenerate plant that the Most High was going to graft back in. He wasn't going to take an apple tree and graft it back onto that olive tree. The scripture talks about the wild olive tree, okay, the strange olive tree that was going to be grafted in onto the parent plant, which is the olive tree that the Most High is dealing with, the elect, so you can understand. And these are going to be the strangers that the Most High was going to take from wherever they was going to be scattered, and he was going to sift them and he's going to graft them back in. Okay, so Isaiah 14 and 2, and it says, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, right? Whose captives they were, and they shall rule over the oppressors." Now this is talking about the turning of tables right now. Okay, so you got into it, Esau's in rulership right now, okay, and he's balling, okay, doing what he was going to do, right? Okay, setting up wickedness across the whole earth, trying to establish the so-called New World Order agenda. Okay, that's what he's doing. That's what his agenda is right now. All right, but the scripture tells you that what? Although we are captives underneath Esau, the so-called Jews right now, the Most High is going to overturn that enslavement. Okay, matter of fact, when you read about, and I can read about that within the book of Psalms 149. When you read it when you're going to see within the book of Psalms 149th chapter, is that what? Okay. All of the kings, the so-called noblemen of these different countries, you got these Saudi Arabian dudes right now, and they think they're on top of their game, but they're being manipulated by the so-called Jews, well, they're going to be slaves underneath the Israelites. You got the Chinese out there and the Russians thinking they're going to be the next superpowers, they're going to be enslavement underneath the Israelites. Because all of these nations upon the face of the earth have had the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans in hardcore captivity, and the Most High is going to change that back now, okay? So we're talking about peace and promises. The peace and promises was going to be for the 12 tribes of Israel. As for everybody else, they're going into captivity, man. And I'm gonna read it. Psalms 149th chapter, Revelations the 13th chapter, and I'll climax within the book of Isaiah the 60th chapter, then come back to Isaiah the 14th chapter. Okay, Lord's will. Right? Psalms 149 and 1. It says, praise ye the Lord, sing unto him a new song. That's what we're doing right now, that renewed song, that refreshing song. Okay, oh, I'm an Israelite? Oh, okay, cool. What am I supposed to be doing? I'm trying to make it up out of here. Because I can clearly see, because I'm not trying to be willingly ignorant, I can clearly see this world is about to end. What are my duties right now? And when you go to the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter and the 12th verse, I believe it is, it says that what? Right? To fear the Most High and keep his commandments, but this is the whole duty of man. So you're supposed to be keeping the Lord's commandments of the Most High to the best of your ability. But the most important information that you're supposed to be taking from the scriptures is the pushing of this word in understanding of the Spirit. Okay, that's what's supposed to be flourishing right now, man. Knowing that the Most High was going to blot out the iniquity, right, of the elect. Okay, so you're supposed to be keeping the laws to the best of your ability, but the principal thing was to push forth the spirituality, the spiritual understanding of this word, man. Okay, right? The casting down of strongholds that Esau has set up for the last 400 years. Okay, so now let's go back within the book of Psalms 149th chapter on the first verse. It says, and his praise in the congregation of the saints. Who are the saints? Psalms 50 and 5. Okay, them that have made a covenant with him by way of blood. Those are the saints of the Most High. So the Israelites. I don't see how you get Saint Patrick and Saint Peter looking like Edomites. That's not biblical. Those were supposed to be big ass Negroes with afros, man. Matter of fact, when you go onto the Russian icons and you read about when you see the images that they painted of the Lord and the images that are painted of the prophets, these were big ass Jakes, man. Big ass dudes that look like Michael Jordan, man. Okay, with big ass, picky ass afros. Because that's how they look like. That's the people that the Most High was talking about. And when you talk about who really gets into these scriptures, okay, who really gets into this Bible, the Israelites are the ones that get the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans are the most spiritual people, as with reference to this Bible, upon the face of the earth. So it stands to reason when this revelation comes out, when this new song is sang throughout the four corners of the earth, which one of those songs, this is the song I'm singing to you. When this song is sung throughout the four corners of the earth, it was going to be this people that it was going to be talking about. Because this is the people that are the most biblically minded. The Israelites, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. The so-called Jews out there ain't like that, man. Okay, they ain't singing the song of the 12 tribes. If they ain't singing the song, they're all about stealing, raping, robbing, and murdering. That's their song. And when you go into the Bible and you understand that the nation of Edom, well, guess what? The blessing of Edom was the sword. So they was gonna be about death, destruction. Okay, you go out there into Elam land. Okay, right? What they all about? They're all up into their own philosophies. The Moabites, they're about their own philosophies. Now, you might have certain ones that think they're Christians and so on and so forth. And even further than that, you're going to have Israelites amidst them that they think they're Chinese and they think they're Christians at the same time. Well, there goes going to be Israelites amidst them. But for the most part, them Moabites and Chinese people, okay, they was about their own damn thing. Now, as it pertains to the people that's in captivity underneath the so-called Jews right now, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, okay, they're the ones that are the most biblically minded. And as like I said before, when it comes to this song being pushed forth, they was going to be the ones that was going to dance to it. And the scripture's going to say, dance it. Okay? Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Okay, so now we're rejoicing in the Lord. Okay, that's the Lord that made us. Oh, that's the promises that he promised us. But we had no land we had no promises here. There was nothing for our glory here within America, within Britain, wherever we was scattered for our enslavement. There was nothing for us here. Oh, it's beautiful that the Most High set us something that we can enjoy. And oh, we're going to have the heathens as our subjects too. It's beautiful. Okay? Now you got certain guys like G-Man. G-Man thinks that if G-Man really is like, man, that guy couldn't stomach putting these heathens in captivity, man. He loves these heathens too much, man. Okay? Now for me, hey, that's a rightful thing to do. In fact, when you go to the book of what is it, 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6, or 1 Thessalonians, or I forget the exact placement of the scriptures, is saying, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense them that trouble you. So when you're talking about slavery of the Edomites, and then the ultimate annihilation of the Edomites, well, that's balanced judgment. That's just balanced judgment. Okay, when you're talking about Moab and all of these nations, okay, you okay there? You're back now? Yeah. Okay, all right. You girls are going to be concubines. You know what a concubine is? Okay, I could explain it for you. Okay, when you're talking about all of this judgment coming about on the Moabites and so on and so forth, Okay, pretty much you get into the understanding, okay, this is balance, okay, because they had us in captivity for a period of time. Oh, okay, all right, now they're going to go into captivity themselves. And the book of Revelations, the 13th chapter, okay, the book of Revelations, the 13th chapter, and that's supposed, these people that can't run, they're supposed to be the next superpower. Come on, man, that's ridiculous. Okay, Revelations 13th chapter on the 9th verse.
Are you going to be here in like an hour?
Yeah, you want to debate, you can debate now, man, I'm here. Hey, I'm here, you know. That guy could be a Jake, and he looks like an Edomite, okay? Right, because he seemed more sincere. Right, so this is Revelations, the 13th chapter on the 9th verse. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Okay, so you had it to where you had the transatlantic slave trade that took place, and they led all of these all of the heathens, all of the Israelites, the Negroes, Hispanic, and really it was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Okay, because you already had it to where Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, okay, Rehoboam, okay, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar, they was already within the Americas. Okay, but you had it to where Esau even went out there. He tried to he massacred pretty much the vast majority of those people. Going to show this man is a damn devil, man. Okay, so he massacred all of these this principal people of the Most High, the ones that the Most High has got this further for. Okay, and he's gonna go into captivity, and we can read about that. I forget all of the precepts I had quoted. I think I'm going to Isaiah 60, and then I'm going back onto Isaiah the 14th chapter. I know I'm missing one, but I might go to Obadiah, going to show you that what Esau, as a result of that massacre, is going to be wiped off of the face of the earth. The scripture says that what? For thy violence against thy brother Jacob. Okay? And who's Jacob? Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, man. Hey, we're in biblical times, and people are thinking about we ain't in biblical times. Are the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans in hardcore captivity? Did they go into slavery? Those were biblical events. The transatlantic slave trade was a biblical event. It's spoken about within the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, on the 68th verse. Okay? That's all biblical events. And the taking down, okay, the economy of Esau breaking apart, and him trying to bring forth the chip, etc., etc. Those are all biblical things. The RFID chip